Is this episode 29
Yeah.
of the We'll Just Agree
To disagree
podcast? I'm Beyonce Fox.
I am Ryan Lee.
And Ryan, how are you?
What
how
up,
are things going?
B?
Everything cool?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well, man. Just, taking day by day. Life is great.
Can I say that Beyonce, guys, is going to be so much happier in these episodes now because it's fall. And now Beyonce's going to have a Steve Madden boot on every day. I almost texted Beyonce this morning, like, what Steve Madden boot are you wearing today?
Today, I just have on some velvet sneakers. They're nice.
With the flannel.
With a flannel and velvet shoelaces. If you're going to do velvet shoes, you got to do velvet shoelaces. Yes.
What are we talking about today, B?
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the real talk show host, Jeannie Mai. A few months back, she married rapper Jeezy. And Jeannie Mai, for months when The Real first debuted and then years thereafter, she had an issue with, not necessarily an issue, but she really boasted on TV how much she did not want to ever have children. Mm-hmm. And it was a serious issue. They even had it as a topic one day, I believe. And
multiple times.
Yeah, she just made it almost like a platform. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, it's cool that she's incorporating her real life into the show because that's very relatable. And the show targets women, and there are a lot of women out there who may not want to have children. So it worked. But I mean, she kind of went on and on and on about it. Well, let's fast forward to years later. As I mentioned, she recently married Jeezy. Beautiful wedding, by the way. And now we find out they're pregnant. I know, I'm so happy for them. Yeah. So that brings up this topic. People who say never. That old adage, never say never. What are some things, Ryan, that you said never to? Uh-huh. And maybe now that never is changing into, okay, I'll just do it. Or maybe I'll do it.
Where am I living right now?
That's it.
So, disclaimer.
Okay, so explain.
Disclaimer, I love Chicago, right? I grew up here for 20 plus years. When I went to college and my senior year came around, I was adamant that I was not coming back to Chicago. I knew I was looking for jobs elsewhere. Not that I didn't love the city. I think I was just like, I want to travel. I want to live somewhere else. A lot of my friends who were getting these six-figure jobs because they were engineers and doctors and all this were going elsewhere, planning their apartments in different cities. And I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to do radio somewhere. I don't want to be in Chicago. and it's crazy because you would think dang, do you not like the city? But I loved it. But I just I want to go down south. Everywhere I was applying was Charlotte, North Carolina, which you guys know that's where I'm from.
Yep.
Atlanta, Georgia. I was actually doing interviews out there.
Nice.
California, Dallas, Texas. Chicago was not on the list.
Okay, but why not? Okay, first of all, disclaimer. Mm-hmm. You're not from Chicago. You're from the suburbs. So let's make that clear.
Okay, you tried it. Okay. I am from Orland Park. I'm from Orland Park. Okay. And
so technically, Chicagoland.
Technically, I'm not even from Orland Park. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
True.
I think I don't have a strong it's tough. Let me say this. Growing up in the burbs, I wasn't downtown as much. So I wasn't in that city lifestyle. My older brothers were. They used to be down here going out and living that lifestyle that we live now. But I didn't understand how dope of a city Chicago was. You know what I'm saying? My parents would have been downtown and stuff. We went to Navy Pier, but I primarily was in the burbs. So I never understood everything Chicago had to even offer. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I was coming out of college, I think I knew too, I didn't want to move back to my parents' house. I didn't want to be the one that went back to Orland. It's just all that, the comparison that we talked about before on this podcast. Fast forward, this job opportunity came about and I saw iHeart was hiring for a board operator. And that's what I was doing back in Lafayette. And I was like, this could be my way in. Everybody knows iHeart is the radio mecca. So I was like, how dumb of I would be to turn down working for iHeartMedia in the #3 market where I did technically grew up in. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I'm so grateful that I did. I would have never met Beyonce and the other radio legends that I grew up listening to. This podcast would have never came about. So it's actually a part of my testimony that I tell everybody, because for me, when I moved back to Orland, I didn't have this job right away. Let's also make that clear. I didn't have this job and my apartment lease was up. So I had to come back, and I sat down for a year. God had me doing nothing. And I was so upset, and I was applying everywhere out of state, not knowing God was like, you're applying out of state. You're traveling out of state to do interviews. Meanwhile, I'm about to be keeping you here. And some of the interviews that I thought were the biggest jobs that I could have got in the industry out of college, none of them matched the #3 market to what I do now for iHeartMedia. And I tell everybody this, like, and I'm sure Jeannie Ma can relate too, you know, God's plan is always greater than ours. And I think I've learned through that, like, I can never say never anymore, because if you would have talked to me, all my friends, my family, Chicago, I did not even think about applying to Chicago.
So I have another question, Ryan.
Okay.
Since you said you grew up in Orland Park, suburbs, you didn't really go downtown that much like your older brothers, why wouldn't you have an interest in Chicago? You say it's such a great city. You didn't really enjoy it and live it much. I would think that you would want to go to Chicago.
I think, honestly, it was the comparison factor.
Okay.
You know, when
what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. And when you come out of college, it's that you don't want to be known as the one who you're going back home with no job.
Yeah.
And all of my college, I was very adamant, like I was very career heavy. I'm grind. That's just the mentality I had. I was in college, worked 3 jobs. I started interning going into junior year. That turned into a job. I was all about radio. Everybody who knew me at Purdue knew I would miss your typical college events because I wanted to be at the radio station. So I was fighting, the inner me was fighting, God, how can I have this experience coming out of college? I worked now at a radio station for 2 years. I have the intern experience, but I can't get hired nowhere. God, why are you sending me back home out of all the places? And then you have the comparison of your friends like, okay, Ryan, I know you've been in radio while we've been in college. So where are you going? I'm going to Orland. So, I mean, God humbled me and set me down. So to answer your question, I couldn't even think about why wouldn't I want to go live in this city that we live in now and it has so much to offer. I couldn't even think about that.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad the Lord directed your path right on here to iHeartRadio Chicago, because you're awesome. So hey, you know what? Speaking of, since we're talking about the Lord and directing paths and such, I said that I would never, ever marry a man who doesn't know Christ. Can't do it. I want to have, I want to be on one accord with my husband, partner in life, and I want to build on a foundation that is ordained by God, point blank, period. So nothing against other religions and things like that, but for me and my house, I want my husband and I to be able to serve the Lord. And in Ephesians, it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. So if he is in love with Christ, then imagine the love he's going to have for me.
So you're kind of opposite of Jeannie Ma, because you're going to stand still on that. You're not going to waver that.
Yeah, no. So said I would never.
And you will never do it.
Never not marry someone who's not a Christian.
That's a good one. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But is there something that you said you would never do that you think now you may do?
No.
And you know what? That doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me with you. It really doesn't.
No, I don't say I will never too often, because you never know what's going to happen in life. So that's not something that I usually say. But when I do say it, trust and believe, I'm never going to do what I said I would never do. You know what I mean?
I feel
if that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. But I'm so happy for Jeannie and Jeezy. I think that's amazing. And it's a lesson learned, if you will. Like, be careful what you say, because something greater may change the outcome of your life. You may say one thing, but God may have something else for you.
And you also, I think it's another lesson. You got to be careful what you say, because you can speak things into existence as though they're not. So, of course, we're praying that everything's going to go. She's going to have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy birth. And it's a blessing that she's pregnant now. But, you got to be careful of speaking those things that I will never get this. I will never, because you're speaking that into existence.
Yeah.
But I can relate to her so much on this, because honestly, going back to the Chicago thing, you would have thought it was my platform, how it is with hers, that I was like, I am moving. B, get this. For the first year that I lived at home with no job, I did not unpack anything. I lived out of a suitcase, because I told my parents there's no need to set up this bedroom, because I am leaving and moving and going elsewhere.
And how many years ago was that, Ryan?
6.
Never say never.
No, I definitely agree with Jeannie Ma, and she said too, love changed her mind on it. And that's just how life is. You're at a different stage, a different mindset. I don't think Jeannie was in the relationship, if we're being honest, that she thought she could have kids with that guy.
True.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there were a lot of factors involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with her where she was saying, things change. And then you end up grateful on the other end that they did change.
Yes, and happier. So just be careful what you say. Good lesson learned.
But B, I want to ask you this, because it's been surfacing on social media a few weeks, this article that, would you rather go to dinner with Jay-Z or get $500,000 in cash?
Okay.
And a lot of people are going back and forth. Some said, I want to go to dinner with Jay-Z so I can get all the keys to success and to be a businessman. The others were like, Jay-Z's not going to show up, or he won't even give you nothing if you go there, or he won't say a word, so give me the cash. So I'm not going to ask you Jay-Z, but because we all know Beyonce's obsessed with John Legend, would you rather go to dinner with John Legend or get the $500,000?
I would rather, as much as I love John Legend, and the entire world, including John Legend, knows this, I would rather the $500,000. First, I've already had lunch with John Legend. Second, I never miss a John Legend. Hey, Ryan, come back. I did have lunch with him. Hello?
The second time I then had to walk out on you.
Yes. Second, I never miss a John Legend concert, so I see him quite often, a couple times a year. And third, he's so cool, and I really love him, and I know the conversation would go well, and I'm sure we have a lot in common and this and that. But at the end of the day, I can do so much more with $500,000 in the community than I can having a conversation or a lunch or a dinner with John Legend.
Can I just say I'm really proud of you right now.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Honestly, I would build some tiny homes for the homeless with that $500,000. I would give it to a charity. There's a whole lot more that can be done with $500,000 than meeting up with a celebrity. What about you?
Who's my person?
Yeah, you're obsessed with Madea, who's a person, but not really a person. So let's hear this interesting twist.
500,000 or dinner with Madea. I'm going to dinner with Madea. And no. B, listen though. Listen. Did you not just say last week or whatever podcast episode that was that you wanted to be an actor? Tyler Perry, right? Madea is Tyler Perry, right? I'm going to dinner with Madea because we're gonna plan this out. Madea, I love you. I could be like your grandson in the upcoming Madea movie or Netflix special, and we can flip this, and that 500K is gonna be turned into however much money, because I'm finna be in the next Madea movie. You gotta work smarter, not harder. So
I'll give you that.
money is cool, but you got to look at what you could do with that conversation, because in the end, I'm sitting down with Tyler Perry. So I may put you on too, because you said you wanted to act in Tyler Perry. So, hey.
Okay. Yeah.
Why you want to walk out on me? Don't walk out on me, okay? Because God is trying to set you up for something greater, but you want to say never.
Go ahead and go have dinner. Let me know where you plan it.
I will. And we're gonna have, I'm gonna be crying, laughing the whole time. I'm gonna let Madea know, like, yo, we bond, like you remind me of my grandma. We are so cool. Madea, we can go through the scripts of every Madea movie. I know it word for word.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna be ready for the next Madea movie. Because essentially I'm eating with Tyler Perry.
That's a good call. You're right. That's a good call. Okay, go ahead and do that. Please. I'll send you my resume, my acting resume.
Not the one you did a few episodes ago.
Which has nothing on it.
Not that one.
Great. That's interesting.
See?
Smart. That is very smart, Ryan. Cool. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Let me know when that dinner date is happening.
But I'm really proud of you, though, for not doing John Legend.
Yeah, no, it's not that serious. I mean, and then being in this business for 20 years, I pretty much met just about every celebrity under the sun. So it's like,
let's be honest, because, and I haven't met nearly as many as you have, but there's been some that we've talked about that we've met and you actually get turned off by after meeting them. Not naming names.
There's been a few, just a few, not very many, but there have been a few. Yeah, a handful.
One that we just talked about yesterday, but we're not going to go there. But
it'll come to me.
Who's the video that I showed you of?
Yesterday?
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 29 of the We'll Just Agree to
Disagree.
Oh, now you want to come in?
It'll come to me.
I am Ryan Lee. You can follow me on social media at Ryan Media Lee.
And I'm Beyonce Fox. Follow me at Beyonce Fox. Yep, 2 X's.
You go on vacation next week, right, Beyonce?
Yeah. I need one. Because I can't even remember what you showed me yesterday. That's pretty bad.
We'll talk off camera. Okay. Follow us, guys, at We'll Just Agree to Disagree on Instagram, YouTube. If you want to follow us on Gmail, I don't know how you do that. Facebook and Twitter is up next, B. We gotta gotta make it happen, definitely. But thank you guys for so much of your support. We really, really appreciate you. Most def, and we'll talk to you guys later.